ask the questions in the order he had given them to you. Was that because, like, you were really concerned and nervous about the questions you were asking them and decided to, like, skip some of them because you just thought, like, you couldn't ask
That's a great question, Dave, and nobody's ever asked me that. And that's a great question. Yes, I would skip them, you know, and then get to, like, what I felt was a more easier, like, layup into the next one. And then I would go back to the real hard one. You know what I mean? Like, right. I was literally, if I had 10 questions, I'd go, okay, I'll go with the one, then I'll go, like, I was literally trying to see how I could ease it into being completely obnoxious.
When you were there looking at the bands, what was on their faces as you're asking them these questions?
Oh, they just didn't know they were like, who is this freak? Like, you know, I interviewed ZZ Top, and it's on YouTube, but I said, is this a G-rated podcast?
No, you can go as X as you want, John.
That's right.
You know, no, but it's not that bad. I mean, it was played on radio, but I asked ZZ Top if, you know, first I asked, you know, since you look Jewish, shouldn't you be named ZZ Dreidel? Like, it was all those. But then I asked, Sinead O'Connor give you a boner? And it was so funny because they were like the whole place like laughed and they were like, a boner? What's a boner? Oh, man. But like, yeah, I mean, it was, see, that's a great thing, man. I got to really like meet all these great bands and interview them, you know. Look, I've lived a charmed life.
That's true. And did you get thrown out of the Van Halen press conference when you asked that question, or no?
No, the only one I got thrown out of it was the MTV. We go back to MTV. That's when MTV actually played music videos. Was when I asked Sharon Stone at the Basic Instinct if there'll be any upcoming crotch scenes. And, you know, yeah, and that got me thrown out. I mean, I've been thrown out a couple. I've been thrown out of everywhere.
It's true. It's true. Now tell me, when you first met Dave, what kind of vibe did you get from him?
All right, well, David Lee Roth is a whole other thing, Dave, because there's like 3 Daves we're talking about now. Well, oh, God, I mean, I could tell you so many great stories about David Lee Roth. Well, okay, this is a great one. This is when I just started at the Stern Show. It was in the old K-Rock studio, so we're talking about between 88 and, I'm guessing, 94. You know, and Dave, I got some great stories. And David was a guest, you know, and he was a fan. He was really a fan of me, and he was hanging out, and I was sitting behind Howard's desk. That's where I would, like, do work. Like, this is when Howard didn't have it was like a small office in Baba Boohai's. It was like a little office right next to it. And then I was sitting there at the desk, and David Lee Roth was just talking to me, you know, just like, you know, you guys and I are talking.
Right.
And he was like, yeah, you know, Sammy Hagar, that guy can't write lyrics. They're all like Moon and June lyrics. What I wrote was, you know, that real good lyrics. This guy can't write a lyric to save his life. And it was so weird because, you know, when it comes down to Van Halen, I'm more David Lee Roth Van Halen.
Sure,
you know?
Sure.
Okay, right.
And yeah, and then, you know, it was so cool, though, that David Lee Roth was like, I could consider me somebody he could just, like talk to, you know, and just, like, you know, and feel his real feelings to. It was great.
That's great.
But I'll tell you, and I think it could have been that same day. No, it was a different time David Lee Roth was on. And this is a great showbiz moment. This is like the Larry Sanders Show.
Right.
So David Lee Roth had showed up, like, I don't know, like a half an hour too early for the Stern Show.
Right.
And, you know, so I go in the Howard Stern on-air studio in the commercial break, and I go, hey, Howard, David's here. And he goes, oh, crap, I don't want to have to talk to him this long. I mean, the guy doesn't shut up. And then David Lee Roth opens the door. Hey, Howard. And Howard's like, hey, Dave, we love you. Have a seat.
That's awesome.
Was Howard a Van Halen fan? Did he follow the band closely, or did he just like to have Van Halen members on because it made for good radio and drama?
Oh, I don't think Howard, you know, like, we're all music fans. I don't think Howard could even name the 4 members of Van Halen. You know?
Okay.
I mean, there's no way. But, you know, and then another interesting time with David, I have so many David Lee Roth stories.
Well, we want to hear all of them.
Was when David, and it was sad to see. Remember seeing him on Leno trying to do, like, stand-up, like, you know, and he was, I think he was with
Robin Williams, right?
Robin Williams.
Yep.
and he was trying notes out. It was such a douche-kill moment.
It really
Oh,
was.
yeah, that was painful to watch, yes.
It was painful to watch, and I felt so bad for him. But then so he was doing that tour where he looked horrible, and it was like, it was just like he was like, maybe he was at the Morongo or not the Morongo. What's the one out,
Tropicana or something. The Wind. Which one was it, Dave, that he was at?
I forget, but he was doing a casino.
This is 1995.
No, in Connecticut. What the hell?
Oh, Foxwoods.
Yeah. So, so I'm there after the show. It's my wife and I, Susanna. And then we're hanging out, after the show in his green room. And he looks at me for the weird things I do. And he goes, so you're a C too. I go, what? And he's like, OCD. So you have it too. Like he just realized how I was moving around because I have OCD.
Okay.
And David immediately just caught it, which any OCD person, I worked with Howard. I worked with Jay Leno. They both have massive OCD.
Okay.
And any OCD person could spot another OCD person a mile away.
Right.
And immediately David knew.
Wow.
And, so we walked back to Martin, and she's like, I'm like, how the hell do you know? She goes, it's amazing. The guy is incredibly bright.
Yeah.
So you know.
That's true. And he was a regular guest on Stern, right? I mean, he came a lot, right?
Yeah, now, and I'll give you two more David Lee Roth stories.
Sure.
Because, and I never said these, I never told you this stuff.
I appreciate it.
I don't think I've even talked about it on my podcast, but I talked about one of them. But so at the Private Parts premiere in 1997.
Right.
And, and that was on MTV and everything. And I was in line with David Lee Roth.
Right.
I wasn't in the line. I was doing press.
Right.
And David Lee Roth came over to me. He's like, what the? I'm sitting in the 300 section. I'm in the bleachers here. I'm David Lee Roth. And he was really pissed that Howard, didn't, get him into the real celebrity section.
Right,
of the,
right. Sure.
he was pissed off.
I remember that. Yeah, that's true.
He denied it later on. I guess we talked about it on the show. He's like, no, I wasn't that mad. But he was mad.
Yeah, that's true. But, also another thing that was interesting is he wrote a song, a title track for the movie to be considered for the soundtrack, and it got rejected. Are you aware of that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he wrote a song, John, called Private Parts. It's actually on YouTube. You can look it up because if you remember, I don't know if you remember this, but Howard, for the soundtrack, wanted to reunite Van Halen for them to do a track with David Lee Roth, and they wanted too much money, so he passed. But Roth submitted a song. He wrote a song called Private Parts and submitted it for the soundtrack, and he got rejected.
I think actually Howard played it on the air later.
Yeah, he did.
After the movie came out,
He
right?
did. He played a clip of it. It's on
I
YouTube.
mean, you know what? And judging by the songs they did choose, for that soundtrack, why not put it in? It's David Lee Roth.
I know, of course. What was his relationship like with Howard? Were they close? Did Howard get along with him? I mean, how did it work?
Well, I told you. I think Howard thought he was that he just talked too much.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's for sure. Now, what year did you open for Roth?
1994 or 95 at Suntan Lake in New Jersey for Cheap Trick and David Lee Roth.
And how did you get that gig?
Well, believe it or not, the Stuttering John album was doing very well in New York. I was paid all over the radio.
That's right. No, I know. I remember Talk My Way Out of It was the single at the time. I remember that. And that was great.
I mean, just so you know, the other Dave, what's the other Dave's name?
Marconi.
Marconi?
Yep.
Yeah.
Are you fucking with me?
No,
I'm not.
Yeah, the radio guy.
The radio guy. Yeah, exactly.
No relation, John. Sorry.
That's the closest you'll ever come to radio.
I know. Well, this is why I do the podcast, John, because I never made it to radio.
That's right.
So this is as good as I can get, John.
That's right.
All right. So what were you asking?
So tell us about when you opened up for David Lee Roth.
It was awesome. It was such a great experience because, believe it or not, like I got a good review from Rolling Stone magazine. My album. I mean, obviously, I had my obstacles to overcome, which is impossible in radio because I worked for the #1 morning show that was taking down every other radio station in the country. So there was no way I was going to get airplay, But, I sold like, I don't know, 50 or 60,000, which is really pathetic in a way. But, it doesn't matter. But it was a good record. I'm proud of it.
Yeah, it is. It's very good.
So we opened up the Cheap Trick and David Lee Roth. I remember I smoked a dude with Cheap Trick, and they were like, dude, we listened to your album, in our bus, and, it sounds like a good Cheap Trick.
Oh, God.
No, they would give me a compliment saying it sounds like a good,
Right.
So, later on that night after David Lee Roth got off the stage, me and Ralph from the Stern Show and his buddy, decided to just, David asked us to come into his tour bus, and he literally rolled a doobie the size of a cigar. I am not kidding. I mean, this is not a joke. I'm not kidding, because I laminated the vote. But anyway, so he is smoking a cigar-sized doobie.
Wow.
It's like Cheech and Chong.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, and he doesn't stop telling stories, and I'm hanging out. Ralph goes outside to puke on the side of the bus, but I'm hanging in there. And, it was an amazing thing. It's so weird because I'm sure both of you guys would love that experience.
Oh, yeah.
John, it's funny because actually Dave and I have been on David Lee Roth's tour bus.
Yeah.
And when we were, and this is so funny, when we were waiting for him, we met a guy who had made the same doobie. He had made a doobie. Do you remember this guy, David? The albino. He had made a doobie, like you say, John, the size of a cigar.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually once smoked a doobie the size of a cigar in the Metallica mosh pit in 1991 with Sebastian Bach in Philadelphia. That was fun.
Oh, dude, don't give me Sebastian Bach. But hold on. When you were talking about like a cigar-shaped doobie, was that David's?
No. No, it wasn't Dave. David wasn't there. It was Sebastian's. And this is in 91. I was at the Metallica show, and I was in the snake pit, and I was a press pass, and I was reviewing the show, and I'm like walking around, like, watching the show, writing around.
No. I was telling the other Dave, like. Oh
no, this was on. Okay, so this was on Long Island. We were waiting for Dave outside his tour bus. This was 1994 at.
Malibu.
Oh, man, Malibu.
Yeah.
He was playing at Malibu by the beach.
Yeah.
And we were just waiting outside to meet Dave. We were with a bunch of fans, and we were just talking to this guy.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he just whips out this doobie, like the size of my hand.
Well, I wonder if he knew that's what David liked to smoke.
I think he had
maybe because that's quite like a coincidental story. We're telling you.
Yeah, that's why I had to go back. Privilege, the reporter, doesn't realize that's kind of like oddly coincidental.
Well, that's why he has me on the show, just to help him point out the obvious.
Absolutely.
That's why he put Jackie the Joke Man's face on his story instead of mine.
Wait a second. Wait a second. I didn't put Jackie the Joke Man's face on the story. Jackie was in the video, and you were in the video, and you had an even longer section of the video than Jackie did. But Jackie...
Hey, Marconi.
Yes, sir.
I do a 2-hour interview with Criblets here.
2 hours?
And then he gives me two sentences in the whole freaking thing.
Wait a minute, John. We had 12 different celebrities in there. You were one of the 12. Well, everybody had the same size.
John, he has an editor too, John, and can't control what the editor edits.
No, that's...
Marconi.
Yes.
Have you read the article?
I have not read the article.
12 celebrities is like, besides me and Jackie and Dee Snider, I didn't know anybody else.
Yes, you did. How dare you? How dare you? You're unbelievable. Let's get back on track here. John's taking over. Hold on a second.
I think this might be the best interview ever.
Yeah, you just, anything that breaks my balls, you love. That's what you like.
That's right. John, you are the number one guest of all time.
All right, calm the fuck down.
You're the GOAT, John. You're the GOAT.
Hey, listen.
What?
Goat. What the hell's goat mean? That's a bad term.
Greatest of all time.
Goat.
Greatest of all time. That's an acronym.
All right.
Yeah. So listen,
Okay.
wait a second. Didn't Ron